And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much. Not least of all because the monarchy is about continuity.
It all began behind the heavy doors of Clarence House, where whispers about royal protocol began circulating with unusual intensity. A shift had taken place, one so significant that it rattled the foundations of the modern monarchy. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, and known as the most dutiful and no-nonsense member of the British royal family, had exercised her influence in a way that stunned the palace. She had officially stripped Queen Camilla of a long-disputed royal title. The atmosphere, already strained from years of internal friction and private disagreements, suddenly erupted with regal turbulence. The fallout was immediate, and Camilla, never known for a fiery public demeanor, reportedly lost all composure in private. Before we start, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates. The title in question, though ceremonial in nature, carried deep symbolic weight within the royal hierarchy. For years, it had stood as a contentious issue, some seeing it as a rightful recognition of Camilla's elevated role beside King Charles III, others viewing it as an unearned distinction that intruded on the memory of the late Princess Diana and upset the traditional lines of succession and legacy. Princess Anne had reportedly been on the opposing side since the beginning, silently disapproving of the title being granted to Camilla. Her decision to finally take action was not sudden, but rather the culmination of years of quiet resistance. Anne, with her reputation for being staunchly loyal to tradition and unimpressed by modern royal theatrics, finally drew a line in the sand. She invoked her role not only as a senior royal but also as a guardian of the crown's unshakable decorum. To observers outside the institution, the title might have seemed like a mere label, but to those within the royal family, titles are powerful tokens of identity and rank. Anne's decision to intervene and revoke this symbol from Camilla sent a clear and resounding message. Tradition and respect for historic royal continuity would not be diluted for the sake of convenience or compromise. This was not merely a matter of etiquette, it was an act laced with implications. Camilla had long walked a delicate path in the royal sphere, striving to gain public acceptance and royal legitimacy after the storm of scandal that defined her early years beside Charles. She had, over time, managed to reshape her image from that of the other woman to that of a loyal consort. Yet, within the royal household, tensions clearly remained. Princess Anne's bold move exposed the deep undercurrents of discord and long-standing mistrust that never quite left Camilla's position unchallenged. The moment the title was stripped, reactions rippled through the palace like a crack of thunder. For Camilla, the loss was personal. It wasn't just about a title being revoked, it symbolized a rejection from within, from a family she had fought hard to be accepted by. The removal of the title felt like a public downgrading of her status, even if it was carried out in private. Camilla, reportedly blindsided by the decision, was said to have erupted in private, her composure unraveling in ways those close to her had rarely witnessed. Raised eyebrows and whispered conversations among palace aides followed swiftly, as the emotional toll on her became evident in the hours after the decision was delivered. This was a clash not just of personalities but of ideologies. Anne has always been considered a custodian of the old monarchy, unmoving, steadfast, and wholly uninterested in publicity or reinvention. Her values are deeply entrenched in the legacy of her mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Camilla, in contrast, embodies the new face of the monarchy, one that has had to adapt, mend, and redefine its purpose in the 21st century. That these two royal women found themselves at odds over a symbolic crown speaks volumes about the internal battles the institution continues to face. Privately, the corridors of Buckingham and Clarence House became battlegrounds of whispered loyalties. Some staff members were stunned by the timing, questioning why such a move would be made now, when unity was so desperately needed. Others nodded in quiet agreement, perhaps relieved that someone had finally acted on what they privately felt was a distortion of the royal order. Still, others viewed the entire episode as a devastating blow to King Charles, who had fought hard to position Camilla in her new role and see her accepted by the public. Camilla's response, though shielded from the press, was described by insiders as visceral and emotional. The gravity of the humiliation wasn't lost on her. For someone who had spent decades clawing her way from the margins of public scorn to the center of royal legitimacy, this stripping of title felt like a tearing down of everything she had painstakingly built. Her fury, however, wasn't just directed at the act itself, but at the message behind it, that her place in the hierarchy was conditional, her acceptance incomplete. The decision sparked renewed speculation about the power dynamics within the royal household. Despite King Charles being the reigning monarch, Anne's move demonstrated that not all authority resides with the crown. There are guardians of legacy within the family whose power, though not always visible, can be exercised with sharp effectiveness. Princess Anne may not wield executive power, but her symbolic authority as the late Queen's only daughter, a lifelong servant of the crown and one of the most respected royals alive, gives her immense weight when she chooses to act. What also made this moment explosive was its subtle orchestration. Anne did not publicly grandstand. The decision was carried out with the same unflinching, businesslike demeanor she brings to her public duties. No interviews, no leaks, no cryptic social media statements. The message was clear not just to Camilla, but to the entire family and to royal watchers across the globe. Titles are not just ornamental, they are earned, preserved, and protected with discipline. The stripping of the title also reignited public discourse around the legitimacy of Camilla's position. Though the late Queen Elizabeth II had made clear her wish for Camilla to be known as Queen Consort, and later King Charles pushed for the removal of consort to style her simply as Queen, the controversy around her status never entirely vanished. Anne's action pulled back the curtain on those internal disagreements that had long simmered beneath the surface. Observers began dissecting the meaning behind this power play. Was it personal retribution, rooted in loyalty to Diana? Was it an institutional act, meant to reset the balance of royal protocol that many felt had been disrupted in recent years? Or was it something even more complex? A warning to others within the royal system that tradition would not be rewritten without resistance. Whatever the motivation, the move clearly had layers far beyond a bureaucratic adjustment. Anne's timing was also telling. Amid growing questions about the future of the monarchy, and with King Charles's reign still solidifying in the public consciousness, the decision to strike now added pressure to an already fragile moment for the family. It was as though Anne was signaling her refusal to allow the crown's heritage to be diluted in the name of modernity or reconciliation. Her quiet yet thunderous action reminded the world, and the family, that the monarchy is as much about memory and structure as it is about present-day appearances. Camilla, for her part, reportedly struggled to absorb the full scale of what had happened. For someone who had managed to maintain a polished, controlled public persona throughout decades of scandal and scrutiny, the emotional unraveling was uncharacteristic. Palace aides were reportedly caught off guard by the sheer intensity of her reaction. Tears, raised voices, and a rare loss of composure filled private royal quarters, even as the public remained largely unaware of the drama unfolding behind the gilded curtains. The news did not immediately break into headlines, but it seeped through the royal grapevine and into the media in whispers and carefully worded hints. Commentators began analyzing Anne's schedule, her absence from certain events, her demeanor at public engagements, looking for signs of what had transpired. Meanwhile, Camilla's appearance at subsequent functions was scrutinized with greater intensity. Was that a forced smile? Did her posture betray emotional strain? In royal history, titles have been weaponized before, but rarely with this level of subtlety and symbolic force. Anne had delivered a blow not just to Camilla, but to the very narrative the monarchy had worked so hard to build since the Queen's passing. Camilla was not just stripped of a title. She was stripped of a piece of public validation that her role was beyond dispute. That Anne, often seen as the most serious and least dramatic of the royals, would be the one to pull that thread made the moment even more seismic. The wider implications for the royal family were undeniable. This was more than a family feud. It was a statement about hierarchy, legacy, and the struggle between modern adaptation and traditional preservation. In a monarchy where appearances are everything, such an act carries symbolic power far beyond its administrative details. The psychological effect on Camilla, the reputational risk to the monarchy, and the shifting power dynamics all formed a tempest whose aftershocks would quietly influence royal interactions for months, if not years. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Princess Anne stripping Camilla's title? What happens next? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.